You got a tattoo, then you gotta have a story. First up is Kelsey and her back piece. Second is Derek and Iggy Pop.
Baseball guy here, and I am at the Central Texas Harley Davidson in Round Rock, Texas, just north of Austin. And we have the lovely Kelsey here. Kelsey, how are y'all doing today?
I appreciate the y'all. Doing good. Can't complain. It's a nice day today.
Now, I've noticed Kelsey doesn't have a big Texas accent at first, but then when you get her talking, it starts to come out a little bit. I have a feeling we're going to get it to come out when she starts talking about these tats because you've got some awesome ink. So, first thing I want to do is ask you, what was your first ever tattoo?
So I actually have some of my feet kind of on the arches from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Felt appropriate, one on the left, one on the right. So jump to the left and a step to the right. So those were my first ones, and then it kind of escalated from there, just a little. Yeah.
Now, did those first ones hurt?
Because I didn't know what to expect, yes, and especially on the arches. But looking back at some of the stuff that I have now, not so much.
And so, did you then do the back, or did you start on the leg?
I then went to my back, got my back piece just about done, and I've started on my leg now. So not quite done with my leg.
All right, and so on your back, you have a heart, and you got a human heart. We've seen a few where the regular old Valentine's Day hearts. We've seen a few human hearts. What made you choose the human heart?
I really don't know. I just really like the anatomical look. I work in healthcare as a nurse, and I just kind of really like that aesthetic. And so wanted a big heart on my back. I guess it's better than having one on your sleeve. But
Don't wear your heart on your sleeve, folks. She's here all week, by the way.
Thank you.
Try the lobster bisque. Anyways, Kelsey here, thank you for being a nurse. I mean, that is just an awesome job, especially this year. Now, you started off with the heart there, and then you grew it a little bit bigger. What made you grow it a little bit bigger?
Well, the second I got it done, and the guy who did it, thank you, Ryan.
And where's Ryan from?
Ryan Green in Lumberton at All About Art. He's very good. Lumberton, Texas. So he did it, and the second I got it from the table, it was gorgeous, of course, but I immediately regretted it because I was like, I've just ruined the chance of having a big back piece. Instead, I just have this little cookie cutter on my back. And so I kind of asked them, what do you think? What can we do to work this into a bigger piece? And so this is what we agreed on. I'm really happy with it. So not quite done actually. So I have to see him soon.
What else are you going to get done to it?
It just needs a little color, in some of the flowers, and I would like a background that just there's no skin showing is the ultimate goal.
Awesome. Now, on your leg, there's some skin showing, but there's probably more ink than skin. You've got a ton of different, I wouldn't say little, maybe medium-sized tattoos going on here. There's one that's a pretty good size here. Looks like Rosie the Riveter. Frankenstein. Tell me about that.
One of Rosie the Riveter, I just really like the pinup look, but wanted to make her a little different. So I found the bride of Frankenstein, Rosie the Riveter, so really enjoyed her. Yep.
I love mashup stuff. We've seen some great mashup stuff on Tat-Stories, and that one is definitely up there. I know we got a lot of other good things here, and I know the crew here was really digging the burning bra. They said they've never seen a burning bra before. Tell me about the burning bra.
Okay. So I can't see how you're a woman nowadays and not be a little bit of a feminist. So I have it, I guess, for that as well. Also, my uncle told me this great story once about how he worked at this very corporate job, something with banking, I always forget. But the second he retired early, made his money, retired early, he went and he burned all of his underwear and all of his ties. And I was like, that's amazing. And so I always really kind of appreciated that. So it felt appropriate.
Well, baseball guy, I do want to say I definitely support the cause. I refuse to wear a bra as well. So I got you going here too. And you got some other great stuff. One of my favorites on there was the crawdad crayfish. What do you call it?
It's a crawfish.
Exactly. And now tell me why you got a crawfish.
Especially since I moved to Austin, everyone kind of gives me a little hell about, have a little bit of an accent. I'm kind of from the boonies out in the swamp.
And where are you from?
It's Beaumont. It's southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana, and it's pretty close to the state line. And so I got a crawfish because whenever people ask me where I'm from, they never know where that is, of course. So I'm always like, oh, it's the swamp. Yeah, it's fine. We have crawfish and a little bit of racism, but it's fine. Everyone loves it. So I like some crawfish.
You're enjoying a big city like Austin now, and Austin's definitely weird.
I do really like it. There's always something to do. A little less now since COVID, of course, but it's definitely been fun living here. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's obviously a bummer South by Southwest was canceled this year,
Yeah, for sure.
but this is definitely a great town for music, a great town for tattoos. And then we've got a few other things here that were really stand out, and one for me was the snake oil.
Okay. So that was actually, I think, the first one on my lower leg. Just got it because of healthcare. I really like the old, like, kind of antique-esque, like jars and bottles and apothecary type stuff is the word I was looking for. And so that just felt appropriate, yeah, especially being in healthcare again.
You gonna get a mortar and pestle too?
Probably not, but not a bad idea.
What do you want to get in the future?
I actually have this really cool, because everything, of course, isn't like traditional, American traditional, but it's kind of in that style. I found this really awesome plague doctor, which feels very appropriate, I guess, now for the time. So probably finish up this space and then really just filler, like the old school dots and stars and just little kind of fun things in the middle, yeah.
I love the old plague doctor mask, and I think it's really cool. I haven't seen as many of them out as I thought I would since everything's been going on, but that would be pretty awesome. So right now I'm noticing, though, arms, legs are kind of tattoo free. Are you going to get everything covered?
I would like to get an arm. I'm in grad school to be a nurse practitioner, and so I didn't want too much to show just because you never really know what your patient population is going to be like. So I wanted to kind of keep it where it looked professional in scrubs, but I'm almost to that point now in my career where I'm like, no one's really going to care if something peeks out from a scrub top. So I think after I finish my leg, I'd like to work on an arm.
Well, let's just hope none of your patients have an attack, because they see like the Bride of Frankenstein or something and they just like kind of lose it. Although as a nurse practitioner, you can write prescriptions, right? So you can give them a little sedative if they need.
Exactly. Here's a little something for that. I work in psychiatry, so that feels very appropriate. Yep.
Well, we certainly thank you for what you do for a living. Thank you so much for coming on our show. We ask you to like this video. We ask you to comment just about how wonderful she is and smash that subscribe button. This is Baseball Guy, Kelsey. We're here in Central Texas, Harley-Davidson. We're out. Baseball Guy here, coming from Central Texas, Harley-Davidson in beautiful Round Rock, Texas, just a little bit north on the 35 from Austin. And I've got Derek here. Derek's going to share some awesome stories. We're going to start with Iggy Pop. Tell us about Iggy.
In 2007, I was working a day shift, and while I was working real quick, I had heard that the Stooges were probably playing a show at Waterloo Records. I got off work, I called Waterloo Records. The guy said, yes, the rumors are true, but if you're not here, you're not getting in. Most of these people outside aren't getting in. I didn't care. I rode my bike knowing a car would be impossible during South by to get close to the record store. I get down there on my bike. There's a line wrapped around the building. I was like, this is bad. This is bad, bad, bad. It was an in-store show. So anyway, they were selling beer in the parking lot. That's how busy it was. And so I grabbed the Dos Equis, put the lime on it, and I play in the music scene here in Austin, so I was like, I have to know somebody in line, So I walked around. I mean, there's hundreds of people. And I saw a dude that was basically an acquaintance at best, and I go, here, Matt, I got that beer you wanted. And the dude looked at me like this. Okay, man. And I got in line, man. It was awesome. And some people right behind me were like, fuck you, man, fuck you. And I just didn't look back. And I was like, how long you been here, man? Half his face was sunburned. He goes, I've been here since 10 in the morning. This was like 5:30 p.m. So anyway, if you were the first 50 people in line, you got a wristband. That meant you got to meet the band. I obviously wasn't worried about that. I got into the show, and motorcycles going by. We're at a motorcycle shop, obviously. So got into the show. The Stooges played an awesome show. He was so cool that there were so many people outside. He started singing outside and came into the show to finish the set. Anyway, the show was over. I start talking to this chick outside with this 59, what are they called? El Camino, one of my favorite cars. I was trying to get her to show me or take me for a ride in it, and my buddy.
You want to take her for a ride too?
I just wanted to ride in the car. I was stoked. I saw the Stooges. I'm having that beer finally. I got my own beer. Anyway, and my buddy runs right around the side of the building. He goes, dude, the Stooges are signing autographs. I think we can get in. So I stopped talking to the chick. Like, I just dropped her like a hat. I mean, I was just like, I got to go. She was like, what? And I ran around with my buddy, and there was this giant police officer, and there was like 2 or 3 people talking to the Stooges, and there was a rope. And I go, officer, do you think we'll get to talk to him? He goes, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's like, if they're sitting down there when those people leave, you can go. Fucking A, we got to meet him. I had a Stooges shirt on. I took it off. I was like, Iggy, sign my shirt. We were the last 2 people that got to meet him. We got to walk him to their car. I was walking down the street with Iggy, and at one point I go, man, you seem a lot taller in your movies. And he was like, yeah, I get that a lot. And he looked down at the ground. I feel like I hurt his feelings. I was like, no, you're so cool. Anyway, so the Stooges got in a van. Iggy had his own Lincoln Continental he got in the back of. And I basically said goodbye. I was stoked. He rolls down the window, sitting in the back seat to talk to a pretty lady on the street. While the window was down, I was like, I don't know what came over me, but I stuck my arm in the window. I was like, Iggy, sign my arm. I'll tattoo it in the morning. He signed my arm with a Sharpie. I tattooed it the very next morning. This tattoo is an especially painful tattoo. Mike Terrell from Gully Cat Tattoo on South First did it. Since it was done with a Sharpie, he had to do an outline around the ink, and then he scrubbed off Sharpie, which is very hard to do, just over and over and over. After I have the outline with no ink, it's called a bloodline. So after we get the ink off and he feels it's safe to do the outline, he takes the needle with the ink in that exact bloodline that's fucking bleeding and hurting and does the Iggy Pop outline. Fucking painful, borderline torture. But all in all, it was worth it.
That's what you call punk music, man.
He's the godfather of punk rock. That was 2007 Waterloo Records during South by. It was rad.
That's awesome. And that's not the only tattoo you have. You do have some other ones. And one here stands out. It's kind of like the dominatrix scene. And you have a pretty famous tattoo artist that did that.
Yeah, he owns a shop, or he did, back when I was 24 in Deep Ellum, called Elm Street Tattoo on Elm Street. He went by Ducky. He's got a big mallard on his neck, but his name's Oliver Peck. He's now a judge, and he's famous, and he's on Ink Masters with Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction. He actually found Kat Von D, and in the story I heard, she got famous and ditched him, and he wasn't cool about that, and finally he got famous on his own accord, and yeah. He didn't do the art, but he did do the tattoo, and it put him. He put it on 6 times, and I thought that was really by the 4th and 5th when I was just, because I was 24 and kind of young, I was just like, oh, I'm irritating him. I was just like, yeah, that's cool, man, that's cool. But he wanted it to be perfect because it's an armband and goes around. You can't just line him up like that. He's a fucking genius, and he knew how to offset it just right, and it's fucking perfect.
And that was in the era of armbands, and you didn't do the old barbed wire or tribal tattoo.
Hell no. No tribal tattoos on me. Yeah, it was about 95, 96, something like that. Yeah.
Much awesomeness. And then I want to talk about your first tattoo up here. Tell me about that one.
So this I drew on a book cover on a book when I was bored in class when I was about 16. And I went to a place called the Tattoo Studio in Fort Worth, and back at this time, there were no regulations, I guess, like there are now. So you could smoke and tattoo at the same time. So I had this older lady that was just puffing away the whole time, had an ashtray that was pretty nasty. I'm just sitting there thinking, well, I guess this is the way it works. I'm a kid. I'm 16. She's about halfway done with it. She'd done the outline and almost filled in the filling or whatever. And she goes, hey, you're 18, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm a senior. I'm going to college next season or whatever,
And how old were you really?
I was 16. I was really cool. I was a Christmas break, so I was really cool when I went back to school after the Christmas break because, I didn't. Just very few people had tattoos, and if they had one, it was a pretty shitty one, not a professional one from a lady smoker,
So Derek here, he's got some smoking tattoos, literally and figuratively. And we want to thank you so much for your time here today. We want to thank again Tattoo One Source for helping us out get this party started this week. And thank you so much for the folks here at Central Texas Harley Davidson. You guys rock. This guy rocks. Iggy Pop rocks. Baseball guy saying, like the video, comment, pound that subscribe button. We're out.